Alaikum.
Salam, son, how are you?
Good.
Good. Man, it feels like I haven't seen you in months. It's been about 2 weeks, right?
Mhm.
All right, good.
Mhm.
All right, so what's up on your side of the planet, man? What's going on? How are things? How's school? How are your friends and family and all those folks?
Good.
Just one word for all of it, right? All
Mhm.
right. You look well, man. You look rested. You ready to get started in the lesson today?
Mhm.
All right. Let me try that again. You ready to get started in the lesson today?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to have, oh no, I'm not. Okay, I see. I can pull your homework. Let's get started with your homework and get that out of the way. And then we'll get to the meat of our discussion. Now, I don't know if this is good for you to see. Can you see that? Or do you need to read it from your notebook?
Yeah.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's open up officially first with the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. And at the end of what we need to do, many weeks into the future, I'm going to teach you what all of the key words in Al-Fatiha mean, so you'll be able to explain it to other people, okay? So don't worry if there's something you're hearing from the Quran, especially that you don't know. It doesn't matter that you don't know. It only matters if you don't want to know. That's where the problem begins. But I know that's not your situation. So read your homework for us and let's get started.
What is the name of where the sperm goes in the female?
That's a heck of a way to start out a class. Okay. Continue. I'm sorry.
An ovum, which can divide to become an embryo.
All right. Now, here is the follow-up question for that answer. What does the embryo become? That's your homework. Just write the question down. What does an embryo become?
Does bacteria need water? Yes, because any moisture or water on food in the environment will allow bacteria to thrive.
Absolutely. That's perfectly put. You made it nice and short and sweet. I love those answers. You, my friend, are going to be a full-fledged, bona fide scientist one day. You have a good way of explaining these questions. Let's pick the share back up here and get to here. MAHDI's session. This is actually number 8. We're on the 8th session, I believe. All right. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
All right. So this is just a review, the first page where we began discussing the Arabic letter JEEM. And in English, it would be what letter?
JEEM, J.
Yes, correct. Okay, so let's just review for our audience what JEEM means.
Legs, knees, and feet moving toward the water.
All right, and we gave these examples. Name these animals, please.
Zebra, seal, maybe walrus, zebra.
Very good.
And hippos.
Very good. You mentioned, oops. Did you mention this down here, what these are?
Yes, humans.
Huh? Say it again.
Humans.
Very good. Okay. All right. So this is a picture of JEEM. Any legs belonging to any creatures that are moving towards water. And you answered last week in a very brilliant way why these living things will be moving towards water. What's the purpose of them moving towards the water?
To drink it.
Why do they need to drink it?
To live.
That's right. What happens if they can't get to water for days and days?
Well, some of them might be able to live, but most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
What about the human?
Not very much.
Do you remember how many days I said generally humans can live without water?
3.
3. Very good. You have great retention. Your memory is superb. That's good. All right. So the purpose of moving towards the water is that the water is an attraction that they need to sustain life. So that's a very important point that we'll be revisiting in a moment. Continue to read.
Every living thing that needs water to survive.
Read it one more time. Read it one more time slowly.
Everything living.
Read it slowly. Look at the word and then read it. Don't guess. Go.
Every living thing needs water to survive.
Perfect.
J. Motion towards a central goal.
Okay, so that's what J means in Arabic and in English. Do you remember what I said about the English letter J and how it's shaped and what that shape means?
Yeah, something about it curving down and going back up.
That's right. Going back up to where it started. So when you go looking for water, you go down to the water source, you gather the water, and then you go back to where you came from, home or wherever, right? So J is always in search of water, and then returning to wherever you came from. And that's true for the English letter J, which we'll talk more about in a moment, and the Arabic letter JEEM, which has this dot in the center of it. Okay, but it's pretty much the same shape if you look at it. This straight line here on top of J is this kind of straight but curved line on top of JEEM. This line coming down from J and curving to return to the top is basically the same thing that JEEM is saying, except it's coming down along this curve and then it keeps curving. If we wanted to keep drawing it, it's going to go up. Just like if we want to keep drawing J, it's going to continue to go up. So there are some very important words in both English and Arabic that begin with J that represent this same movement.
Job.
Okay, now tell me about job.
When you go to a job, you go there to make money. Like how you go there to drink water, then you go back home, take a break. Just like how Jay's going back up.
Very good. So this line on top would be home.
Yes.
And then you leave home, you go to your job, you do the work, and then you return where again?
Home.
Home. Beautiful. Well put. All right. That's JEEM. So it means basically the same thing. Give me another J word. Let's see if we can figure these J words out. Well, let me give you let me ask you this. You might know it or you might not, because maybe you don't study other religions, but there's a religion called Christianity. You ever hear of it?
I think everybody knows about Christianity.
Okay, so who's the central figure in Christianity?
Jesus.
So what do they say about this J word, Jesus? Where did he come from?
What was it again? Do you want me to name the place or like what? I don't know.
Well, yeah, you can name the place too, because
was it
huh?
Jerusalem?
Go ahead. That's right. Another J word, Jerusalem. Very good. But they also say, as a religious idea, that Jesus came straight from heaven down to earth, right? Mm-hmm. So imagine heaven in the way that they say this to be this straight line above all other things. It's above earth. This is earth down here, but heaven is up here, the heavenly plane, they call it, right? So they say Jesus was created in heaven, and then God gave him a body and he came to earth. He sent him to earth to do what he was supposed to do. And then after his work was done here, where do they say Jesus returned to?
Heaven.
That's right. So most of his world's mission, as the Christians tell it, is tied also into this letter J. Now, people might say, well, you know, instructor, you might be making that up. No, no, no. The letter J is the most recently invented letter in the English language. Years ago, hundreds of years ago, the Greeks developed this letter J, but recently, it's not in the original Greek alphabet. There was no J. The J was simply the letter I. So sometimes you'll see people say Esos, E or IEOUS for Jesus, Esos, but there was no J when they were calling Jesus Esos. Do you know the name for Jesus in the Quran?
No.
Isa, ISA. See, sounds like Esos.
Mm-hmm.
So the name in the Quran is actually a closer pronunciation to what Jesus was called than the name Jesus. Jesus came much later. If Jesus were here right now and he was in the room down from you in your house, and you would open your door and say, excuse me, Jesus, I need to see you for a minute, he would never show up, even though he heard you, because he didn't recognize that name. Make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. Now, let's keep going. Some Christians call God Jehovah. All right? You ever hear of Jehovah, Jehovah's Witnesses, or Jehovah is God, or that kind of thing?
Yeah, but I thought it was a place.
No, now we're talking Jerusalem, the other word you used. That is a place. Okay? And it had a lot to do with Jesus also, Jerusalem. And Jeru means city. And Salam sounds like what word that you know?
Salaam Alaykum.
Yeah, it sounds like Salam, right? Jerusalem. And it means peace and togetherness or wholeness.
It also sounds like salami.
Yeah, because the Italians got into the picture. They started naming things after Salam, believe it or not. And they also named cities right here in America after Salam, but they call it Salem, Massachusetts, or Salem, North Carolina. But the point is that they took Quranic Arabic words and they used it for things that they were trying to introduce to people as ideas. But the essential meaning is peace. Peace. Mm-hmm. All right. So the city of peace is what Jerusalem means. All right. We have a city that Muslims visit when they go on Hajj. It's called Jeddah. You ever hear of that city?
What?
Jeddah. Jeddah.
Jeddah?
Jeddah with two D's.
Jeddah.
Yeah, Jeddah. Okay. So it represents the same thing. You don't go there to stay there. You go there so that you can move on to go to Mecca. And then after Mecca, you go back home. See? Mm-hmm. You go to Jeddah, but you don't stay there. You go down into Mecca. And then after Mecca, you go back home where you came from. Okay. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the word Hajj. It has two JEEMs. So you go there and you do things in a very repetitive manner. You go around the Kaaba 7 times and you throw stones when you're in Mina. You throw stones, you throw 7 stones. So you're doing things repeatedly. So Hajj and what needs to be done there is more intense. And that's why it has 2 JEEMs instead of just 1. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. All right. Good. Let's continue to read.
Just keep reading.
There's some squeaking on your side. Do you know what that is? Is it your microphone or is it the chair? No, it's somewhere in your computer.
Oh, that's a ducks and geese.
Oh, I'm about to say, do you have birds in? Okay. Yeah, that's Fitzroy, so we'll leave them alone. All right, so continue.
The English letter J begins as a straight line at the top Then draw a line downward, and then add a curve heading back towards the top. The goal of JEEM is to return to the top.
That's right. That's the goal, whether you're talking English or Arabic. They say Jesus came down to earth, but his goal was to return to heaven. That's their story. Now, it's not necessarily that Muslims believe it like that, okay? But that's how the letter J operates in the name Jesus. All right. Or even Jehovah, that they see as being God. They're saying God came to earth to fix some problems folks were having, and then God returns to heaven. Muslims don't believe that. We believe that Allah is here all of the time, everywhere, and he doesn't have a travel bag that he runs around with when he has to go to Mexico or fix a problem in, Peru. That's not how God does. Allah is always everywhere. He's always aware of everything, and he's always in perfect control of every situation, even though it might not look like God is controlling the wars and the famine, and Allah is still in control of every single thing. But he gave the human being a functioning brain so that the human could work out these situations for him and herself. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
If I give you money, I say, MAHDI, I want you to come visit me in North Carolina, and then I send you money to travel, so you don't have to spend a dime. But then you mess up the money. Can you blame me, the one who sent you the money?
No.
All right. So explain that in terms of what I just told you about Allah. Why can't you blame Allah for the mess ups in the world?
Because we created them.
That's right. And what kind of mind did he give us?
A smart one to think and do.
And to fix those problems if we want to. If we take the time and apply ourselves, we could fix those problems.
Or try to.
Try to. No, he gave us the kind of brain where we can actually fix those problems. He wouldn't allow us to create them if he didn't give us the means to fix them. Allah never puts a burden on people beyond their ability to bear. That's what it says in the Quran. No matter what it is.
A fever.
Mm-hmm.
Like a fever.
Explain. That's good. Explain that.
Because if we, so you know how like viruses come on, like the Black Death or something else comes on.
Mm-hmm.
So then if the virus passed and we did not find a way to stop it, then well, everybody would be dead. There would be nobody alive.
Very good.
If we could, and Allah gave us the mind to overcome, come up with something to fight back with it inside our body, antibodies and other stuff. And yeah.
Nice. Understood. So what happens if a disease breaks out, like this recent disease that they call COVID? What happens if people actually have the solution, but other people don't want us to have the solution, and they hide it, they bury it, they lie about it, they play tricks around it so that people think there is no solution except for the one that we offer you, even though a dozen other people have the real solution, but we don't let you know about them. We're the ones controlling whether or not the people know that there's a solution, and they don't get it, and then thousands of people die.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what's wrong with that picture.
Because they themselves, they want they don't want the people to know about the cure unless somebody, like, I don't know, somebody very rich is willing to pay for the price. Price might be millions, billions, whatever else. And they don't want the world to, they want to control the world to the point where they're begging for the her or his help to help them. So that person said yes, but under one condition: be my slave.
Wow. And the condition is you do it our way or you hit the highway. And you have to pay this amount for this level of help. So the people who are pretending like they have the only answer or the only solution, they're going to make trillions of dollars, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's not nice. So Allah speaks to these things in the Quran, and we'll go through those as the weeks, are in front of us. As we continue to meet, we'll go through some of these kinds of ideas, because I don't just want you to learn letters. I want you to learn letters, and I want you to be able to apply it to things that happen to us every day in our lives. Make sense? Yeah, you don't want to just learn letters. You want to learn what these letters mean so that you can read the Quran better, first of all, and know what Allah is saying about the reality of the world that we're living in. And then when you hear certain people use certain words that contain certain letters, you'll automatically know, even if they are not being honest with you, you'll automatically know what they're up to.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's continue. So the goal of every word that has G or J, and I say G because in English, you can use G to sound like J. Can you give me an example of that? A word in English that starts with G, but it sounds like J?
I know some. Well,
When you study
start with G that but sounds like J.
the the study of the earth is called what? When you study the measurements of the earth, huh?
Geology.
Yeah, that's one word, geology. There's another one, geography, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they both begin with G, but they sound like J.
Geologist.
Geologist? How about the name George? You can spell it with a J, but most of the time it's spelled George. Sometimes you can spell it Jorge, but most people don't spell George like that. They spell it with the G. So G in English can either be J. What's the other sound that you can get out of G in English?
G.
That's right. But in Arabic, there's no G sound. So there's no hard G. That's what they call G. Like, give me an example of an English word with a hard G.
Grandpa.
You saying that because of my gray hair?
No.
Oh, okay. Just check. All right. Give me two more words with the hard G in English.
Game bird.
Say it again.
Game bird.
Gamer or Gameberg?
Bird.
Oh, game bird. I keep forgetting I'm talking to a Fitra child. A child born straight out of Mother Nature. Yeah. Yeah. Living on the farm. That's a wonderful thing. You make my job so easy, MAHDI. I'm telling you. All right. Give me one more English word with the hard G sound.
Gape.
Gate or gape?
Gape.
Gape. Very good. Excellent. You have a very good vocabulary. Let's continue. All right. That's Arabic. This is from the chapter of the Quran called the Taha. We're not going to worry about that. I know you don't read Arabic, so we're not going to worry about that. If you read this transliteration beneath the Arabic, you're not going to understand that. So that's not why I'm putting this here. I'm putting this here so that we will locate the sound of JEEM or J. So look through this very carefully. I'm going to run my cursor across this. Tell me when to stop when you see the letter J. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll pronounce it along the way. قال اهبطا منها جميعا. Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Jami'an. Okay. So now let's go look for what Jami'an means and see if it lives up to the meaning that we gave you for JEEM. You ready for the search?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your head is still falling beneath my scope there. I need to see your mouth speaking to me.
Is it too dark?
It's very dark. I don't know why.
It's raining here, so I thought so.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Actually, never mind. I'll just turn on this.
Yeah. If there's a light that's closer to you.
Better?
You know, that's wonderful. That's like you're in a TV studio now, man. Yeah. All right. Very good. All right. And just remember to keep your chin up so that I can see your whole head. Okay. All right. So when you stopped at jami'an, so let's look at what jami'an. This is the word, how it looks in Arabic right here. That's the letter JEEM with the dot, but you don't have to make the bottom part when you're doing it in a word. All right. So that's jami'a. All right. That's what this is saying. Jami'an. All right. Let's look at what it means.
He said, "Get ye down, both of you, all together." Keep going.
Well, if you're stopping because you think you found the English word that is talking about what jami'an is, then tell me what that word is.
Together.
Yeah. Bright young man. That's right. All together. Jamia.
The reason why I said that is because that thing right there says the goal of JEEM is to bring groups of people and things together.
Yes. All right. All right. So you got it. All
And
right.
also, for some reason, you highlighted it.
I did. And
But
I didn't even think to look down to see if it was in the picture, but it's okay.
you also underlined all together, so.
I certainly did, didn't I? All right. Okay. So that was an easy one, but now let's move on to some other words that suggest the same thing. Read this first again. The goal of JEEM.
Is to bring groups of people and things together.
All right. Give me some of these J sounds in English and in Arabic, starting with this English word. What is it?
Jacks.
Right. What are jacks? You ever see jacks? You ever see someone play jacks?
What is that? Is it like the name or what?
No, okay. I'm glad you don't know because I have a picture of it beneath this. I'll show it to you. What is this word?
Juma.
And what is Juma?
It's a prayer on Friday, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And where is that prayer performed?
Mosque.
That's right. That's right. Or at a masjid.
Mm-hmm.
You hear the J sound in there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The word mosque is actually from the French language. But the word masjid is a word from the Quran in Arabic, and it has a J in it. That means whatever a masjid means is going to have to do with some group of things coming together at a central point. You got it now? Mm-hmm. Okay. What's the next word?
Join.
Okay, that's easy. That's an assembly of people coming together for a purpose, right? What is this next word? It has the word join in it, but what is it?
Joints.
And what are joints?
Well, knees, elbows, maybe your neck.
Yeah. And they work together to do what?
Move.
Say it again. I like the way you said that.
Move.
Yeah, I like that. That's nice. Move. Oh man, I love that. All right. And we spoke about this word, jami'an, already. Now there's another word after it. What is it?
Jalasa.
Jalasa. Jalasa. Okay. Doesn't matter that you don't know what it is.
Jealous?
Huh?
Jealous?
No, but it's connected to it. You can connect it to jealous, but I'm not going to go through that with you. It'll take you another 5 years before I start teaching you like that. But you connected them consonantally, and that's the important thing. So maybe it'll take you not 2 years, but 2 months for me to teach you that. Because we'll have to go into the psychology of what jealousy is. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let me ask you this quick question, which might satisfy some of your curiosity. Can you be jealous of yourself?
Well, I think because
change your mind if you want to. If you can't find the rationale, the logic, can you, an individual, be jealous of you, yourself? Let me start by asking you this. What in your mind is jealousy? What does that mean?
Envy.
What
You
is
want
it? What is envy?
you want something.
It's just wanting something.
No,
I want to buy a car. Does that mean I'm jealous?
no. Actually, it means that you want something from somebody else that they have and that you want.
There you go. Perfect. So the key words here are someone else. Now, can you be jealous of just yourself?
Well, no, you can't because you can't be jealous of yourself if you already have it.
Even if you don't have it, you can't be jealous of you. You can go get it, but it doesn't mean that you have to be jealous of you. It doesn't make sense to be jealous of yourself for something you don't have. You don't have it because you didn't go get it, or you didn't work for it, or nobody gave it to you, right?
Yeah,
If
because
you,
like
yeah,
they'll get like you can't just be jealous of yourself.
that's right. It has to be what you said. You said jealous of someone else and what they have that you want. So the someone else means that there's more people than just you. And that's where the j sound is to be applied. See? Jealous. That means other people are going to be involved. You have to find out how. But if you don't know anything else about that J word, you do know that it's going to have something to do with other people, a group of other people. I want what those rich people have. I want to live in that rich neighborhood. I want the clothes that my peers have. I want that gym suit. I can't afford it right now, but I'm jealous that I can't have it and that he has it. See, there has to be other people, and that's what Jay is telling you without you knowing anything else. You want to add anything to that? Another example of a J word for jealous. Pardon me, not a J word for jealous, but give me an example further of what jealous means.
Well, there isn't much more meaning to it other than what you just said, but
I agree. Just checking. Remember, you're teaching me too. You might have said something that I didn't know, but that's correct. So jealous, yeah. And jalasa is the word that's used to represent when you make your prayer and you are down on your knees or you're sitting down. Whatever you're doing, you have to be sitting with other people. You have to be in a group. It's just sitting, really. It's the common Arabic word for sitting. He sat. But you have to be sitting with other people for it to be jalsa. Other than that, you can't use that word. Another word from that same root is majalis. This is Arabic. Majalis. Majalis is a group of people sitting together, but they have to be sitting with the same purpose. In other words, can you think of groups of people that you know of who sit together for the same purpose?
well, presidents when they meet their um when they're having a meeting and like all the people are there, the general,
Good.
the cabinet of I remember those cabinets.
Every cabinet is a majlis. Even though they're not Muslims, even though they're not saying anything in Arabic, but according to the word, they are also a majlis. I think you can give me at least 3 more examples of people who have grouped together for the same purpose.
Like in a school when the principal and them are speaking about a problem.
There you go. And everybody's in the auditorium, maybe, right? Yeah, that's a majlis. When you go to auditorium, you go to assembly. We used to go to assembly when I was in elementary school. We used to go to assembly on Friday mornings, closer to afternoon. And I believe they got that from the way Muslims do Jummah on Friday. And we had to wear white shirts. We had to be dressed up just like we're supposed to be when we go to Jummah on Friday. In school, public school, we used to have a suit, not a suit, pardon me, but at least a white shirt and a nice straight tie. and we had to be clean, black pants, and that's the way you were supposed to come to school on Friday for assembly. And that's exactly what Juma means. It means assembly day or assembly, people who assemble together for a single purpose. And that's when the principal would speak in the school. That's when the Imam would speak in the masjid. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure it's making sense and that I'm not talking too fast. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to go a little bit into the science.
Yeah.
Genes, huh?
Yay.
You like that? I know you like that science. That's why I put it last. Okay, so tell me what those words are.
Genes and germs.
Yeah. Now let's look at some pictures. You ready for some pictures?
Uh-huh.
All right. What are those?
I can't tell if they're gene. I can't tell if they're germs or genes.
Okay, that's because this game is before your time. This is a game that I used to play when I was 11 years old, like you. This is called Jacks. Now, if you don't know anything about Jacks, if your mom or dad ever takes you to a store that has toys and that kind of thing, see if they can find you this game called Jacks. I used to love this. Okay, what you do is you take these blue things, they're called Jacks, they can be any color, and you have to have a ball, a rubber ball, like this person has. And what you do is you scatter the Jacks first so that they're far apart from each other. All right. And then you throw the ball up in the air and you have to scoop up as many Jacks as you can before the ball bounces, and you have to catch it on the first bounce, after the first bounce. Did that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You scatter the Jacks and then you throw the ball up in the air and you scoop the Jacks up while it's in the air, and then it bounces. But if it bounces twice, you lose. If it only bounces once and you have the Jacks and the ball back in your hand, then you're on your way to winning the game of Jacks against the next person who has to do that. And if they keep missing Jacks or the ball bounces too many times, then they're going to lose the game. This is a nice game for you to learn. It's called Jacks. But you see what happened? What you did was you scattered the Jacks. That's like the top of J, right? You threw the ball up in the air, but it had to come back down, just like the line you draw from J. And then the J curves back up because you have to scoop the Jacks up, and then you have to catch the ball before it bounces again. Is that too complicated, or do you understand that?
I understand, but do you have to catch all of the Jacks? Do you have to take all of the Jacks?
No, you're trying to catch all of the Jacks, but it's almost impossible. So you have to keep taking turns to see who ends up with the most Jacks still on the floor. So the one who scoops all of the Jacks up before the other person, that's the winner. It'll be almost impossible if the person scatters the Jacks. They only have a certain amount of space they can throw them in. But if you can scoop them all up, some people are good and they're fast. Wow, and they got all the Jacks and they got the ball and they won. Just there's no chance of winning against them. But the one who captures all of the Jacks first is the winner. Got it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. So that's leaving somewhere, going to a central place, and then returning as a concept. That's what that is. Leaving, going into a central place where the Jacks are, scooping them up, and then returning, catching the ball. Okay? Mm-hmm. What is this on the right? Who are these people? What's going on here?
Muslims, and they're at khutbah.
That's right. On which day?
Friday.
Which is called?
Juma.
There you go. So we don't have to get deep into that. We already know the connection now. What is this right beneath it on the right?
People gathering.
Yeah. How are they dressed? What's going on here? What is this Juma?
No, they're dressing for a movie, an audition, or something else.
Yeah, either they're sitting here for a theater or this is the Emmy Awards or the Oscars or something prestigious like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the men are sitting next to the women, so we know it's not Juma, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a gathering. It's a J word. So is it the word we were using? Is it a jami'an?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. A lot of Muslims think that Jamia is just for Muslims and when Muslims gather, but no. Allah says that in the end of time, he's going to gather up all humans for judgment. And he uses the word Jamia. And in the Quran, Allah says that he sent Adam and his wife, etc., down from heaven, just like the J, to do certain kinds of work for a certain limited time. And then he's going to return us all to him. So even what Allah is doing is given in that same concept of J. We were in heaven on top, just like the top of J. We go down into the earth. Allah says, get ye down from here all together, Jamia, which we just read. And then in the end, we return to Allah. That's going upwards. Okay. So regardless of whether you're Muslims, atheists, people who don't believe in God at all, doesn't matter, Buddhist, Hindu, doesn't matter, right? Everybody has to return to that source, which is Allah, for judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Judgment. You see another J word there, judgment in English?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Wanted to say something there before we move on?
There's another thing that is like a J.
Tell me.
Life.
Oh, explain that.
Because when you when you when you have been when you are just in your mother's belly, uh Allah gives you your life in the womb, and then you become a baby, and then you're going down, you're aging, and when you die, you go back up to heaven.
Man, oh man, I gotta give you an applause for that one. MAHDI, oh man, I don't know what to say about you anymore. You should see what some of the people write about you on YouTube in the comments box. I don't know if you ever get a chance to look at it, but they are in love with some MAHDI and his answers and just how brilliant you are. They're just in love, and that's wonderful. But that is brilliant the way you explain that. I've never thought to explain it like that. Can I use that when I talk to people now? Can I use your rhyme, your logic for J, meaning life?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me try that again. Can I use your logic for J?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay. So this is a Jamia. And this is a Jamia, except this Jamia is at Jumu'ah. And this Jamia is at the Grammy Awards or wherever. Okay. What are these on the left in this man's body?
Joints.
Joints.
They also connect.
Yes, they do. What do they connect?
Bones.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, as you mentioned, there are plenty more than this. There are joints that are in the neck, joints that are in the spine, joints that are all the way in the thigh, knees and feet and toes and all of that. They're joints.
Fingers.
Fingers, that's right. I forget how many joints. Let that be one of your homework questions. How many joints are in the human body? Write that down. Got it?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're having fun here. So let me know when you're back.
Back.
Okay. I mean, with your picture. I don't see your picture.
Oh.
Okay. So there's a common theme that runs through all of these pictures. With the jacks, you're trying to pick them all up together. That's the key word, okay? Together. At Jum'ah, you go to Jum'ah to hear the khutbah, to hear the Imam speak on important issues from the Quran. And you're all doing that together. You see the theme there again? Togetherness, together. At the awards show, We're all there to see our favorite artist or star or performer, do what they do. And we're all there watching the same thing together. We're not watching 3 or 4 different stages with people doing 3 and 4 different things. All right. We're watching all of it together. So together is the theme. Now with the joints, although they are separate joints in separate parts of the body, they're still all working how? Together. If this joint started to do something different than what it was supposed to do in connection with these other joints, this joint will start hurting. The nerves will start saying, wait a minute, body, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be doing what Allah programmed you to do.
So, like bending your elbow backwards.
Yeah, right. That kind of stuff. Like we used to do. When I was your age, we used to do all of that. We used to take we did crazy things. We take the elbow out of the socket and all kinds of foolish stuff. I don't know what we were thinking when we were children. But
I can bend my elbow backwards without doing anything.
Dislocating. That's right. You don't want to dislocate it.
I don't have to dislocate it.
Huh?
I don't feel anything when it bends backwards.
Okay. Well, you are what's called flexible.
Double jointed.
Double jointed. That's the word. Double what?
Jointed.
That's right. That J word. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about double jointedness. Yeah. All right. So down here on the right, what are these?
Genes.
Genes. Tell me about how genes work together.
They connect together
to
make new genes.
Mm-hmm. Very good. What are genes all about? What purpose are they serving in the body?
How our hair looks, how our hands look, they mostly make up everything about us.
That is correct.
Physically.
Mm-hmm. And they do it through what combination of 3 letters that they tell us about? What do they call genes?
DNA.
Yeah. Now, if the DNA wants to stay here, they have to repeat themselves or replicate themselves. And what do they call those 3 letters?
RNA?
Yes, indeed. So the DNA gives us the original instructions, right? And then the RNA replicates that message so that the genes can continue to exist and regenerate.
I remember that in my science book.
Yeah. Have you heard of prophets? Like in scripture, in the Quran, in the Bible, they talk about prophets.
Yeah, Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
Noah.
Mm-hmm. Name 3 more.
Saint John, Saint Peter. Isa.
Mm-hmm.
One more.
Okay, so that's from both the Quran and the Bible. But those are prophets. Now, in the Quran, it also speaks about messengers.
Well, messengers are like Muhammad, right?
Muhammad was a prophet and a messenger. There are just a few that are spoken of in the Quran that are both prophets and messengers. Now, I'm going to teach you a very important lesson in science. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. When you think about DNA, your DNA receives the original information that's put there by Allah. Allah clocked it into your genes, into your DNA. That's the original body of information. And that information, you see how the genes look, right? They're like a staircase, like a ladder, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you were to unravel all of the DNA that's in your body, it could stretch from planet Earth to the moon and back. Isn't that something? Just keep unraveling it and stretching it out. All of the DNA in your one body could go from where you are all of the way to the moon and back. That's how much information Allah put in your DNA.
I remember that something about, never mind.
No, go ahead.
Something about a whale's intestines or something can go somewhere 3 times and come back.
That's right. The human intestines are somewhat the same. If you take them out of your body, they're all coiled up and it doesn't look like they're going to stretch that long. But the human intestines, you know, especially the large intestines, can stretch, boy, oh boy, for a long, long distance. So I can imagine a whale, the blue whale or one of those whales. Ooh, yeah. But that's how Allah created this human body. It's brilliant. I mean, it is so grand, this body that Allah gave us. That's why it's really a crime to abuse it by, smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol, not exercising, that kind of thing. That's abuse of the body. So we need to fix that if we're doing that, right?
Mhm.
Eating too much sugar, that kind of thing, All right. So the DNA receives all of that original information. So what does the RNA do?
It replicates, duplicates
That's right.
to make more of what it already has
That's right.
for future use.
Yep. And in science, they call the RNA the messenger RNA. Guess where they probably learned that? From studying which book? That's right. It's the only book that speaks about it, where the prophets are given the same role as your DNA, and the messengers are given the same role. They don't come with a book like the prophets do. They come to repeat messages that were already given to previous prophets and to upgrade them and update them. So they are replicating, just like the RNA, the messenger gene, the messenger RNA. It just replicates what the DNA gives it and says, your marching orders are to make sure that this stays in effect. So genes, you have the prophets, pardon me, in genes, you have the DNA, which are like the prophets, and you have the RNA, the messenger RNA, which operate exactly like the messengers. So it's a good clue that when people are reading the Quran and they're reading about prophets, they should be able to understand what they're reading by studying the DNA and what the DNA does, because the job of the DNA is no different than the job of the prophets. Because the prophets have to carry the message, and then they have to pass that message on so that the message continues. That's the RNA. I hope that's, yeah.
The ancestry line,
Yeah.
the ancestors and all of those people pass on their DNA and then keeps going.
You got it. You got it. And they actually call it ancestral DNA. And they can trace your DNA back millions of years, thousands of years into the millions, for the dinosaurs and these other creatures. They have ancestral DNA for them that stretches back millennia. So that's a beautiful thing. We'll talk more about the DNA in the future weeks, because I see you're already pretty knowledgeable in terms of what they do. So you're making my job, I repeat, you're making it very easy for your instructor. Now let's get to this last part. What are these?
Germs.
Germs, another J word. And they come in groups, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Usually.
Huh?
Usually,
yeah. Well, you're not going to find one germ. You'll find one kind of germ, but you're not.
Well, some kinds of germs, sometimes there's only one attaches to one of your cells. It's like a zombie cell, and then that one cell becomes this kind of cell, the germ, and it starts spreading.
Okay. But that one germ is still going to be a combination of other things that formulate the germ or that form that germ. It's like all of us are created from one cell, right? Every human being, every life form is created first from what they call a unicell, one cell. But there's still a group of things happening in that one cell.
Multi-cells.
It becomes multi-cells. But here's another part of your homework. Tell me what a cell is made of. What is a cell, C-E-L-L, made of? This is going to be an interesting one. I loved doing this research.
Cell wall, a nucleus.
No, you're going to do it for homework, and we're going to have a grand old time the next time I'm going to let you teach for about 5 minutes on that.
So just what is a cell made of?
Yeah, what is a cell made of? And tell me what those parts do. So you can't just tell me a cell wall. You got to tell me what the wall is doing, okay? Yeah, you're going to have fun with that one. So we got about 3 more minutes.
Well, how many parts do you want me to name? I mean,
Everything you see. There are not going to be that many parts. Maybe 6 or 7 different major parts that you need to talk about, okay? Like you said, your cell is the reason why you have hair, right? It's the reason why you have taste buds. It's the reason why, yeah. It's the reason
I've always thought about this, but I've never thought about it deeply. So you know what a cell is made of? Well, what is that cell of the cell made of?
Yeah, well,
and then would it just keep going and going and going and going? Because I don't know. Because what is the cell made of? But what is this thing that makes up the cell made of?
That's a good question. What is well, it's kind of the same question. They're going to give you the same answer if you ask it, like, what is a cell made of? But what you do is, when you see those things that it says is inside of the cell that's making up the cell, then that means you have to research each one of those things that you read. So if it says that the cell is made up of a wall or a membrane, that means you got to now, your homework is to look up what a membrane is.
Then whatever comes up, what is that membrane made of?
Well, then you just keep going. That's what science is all about. Just keep tracing it back, tracing it back. And you know what the last answer is going to be? It's created by Allah out of nothing. Just like this universe, he created it out of nothing. But that might not be a satisfactory answer for your age brain. So
I don't care if at the end I just find out it's an endless void or something.
Well, it could be. I mean, we can guess after that because none of us were there. None of us are there when it's happening. But what you're going to want to do then is, obviously, if a male and a female have to come together to produce a new baby, then it must be something in the sperm that you spoke about the last time we got together. You spoke about the sperm seed, right? And what was the other seed in the woman that we spoke about?
Egg?
Yeah, and it's called what?
Ovum.
Okay, so that means you need to look further into what sperm is and how it is composed or created or made or what it does and what the ovum does. Because those are the two things that have to join, that J word, they have to join in order to produce that new life from one cell. They are what are creating that one cell. So it's a deeper level of science. But if you want to go down that road, feel free and I'll accommodate you. Okay? All right, let's read the rest of this so we can complete today's lesson because we got some other letters that we're going to jump into. Another J word, jump into next week. All right.
Oh yeah, you jump up and then you come back down.
There you go. You got it. I love it. I love it. All right, read the rest of this.
JEEM groups must share the same goal.
That's right. So they can't be all over the place. Like if you go to Juma, 5 people can't be next door at the church. Then they're not at Juma. They're not joined doing the same thing, having the same goals. Got it? All right. So what is a goal?
An end point of a race.
The end what?
End point of a race.
That's what a goal is. So if you're running track or you're running in a race, your objective or your goal is to get to the end point. So J starts here, it comes down, and then it goes back up because it wants to get to the end point. That's the goal, to get back to where it came from. The animals come out, they lick the water, they sip up the water, they soak in the water, but the end result is to go back to their hut, or to go back to their families, or to go back to their piece of land that they graze in or do other things in. So the goal is always the end point. It's not the middle point.
End point.
Right. So even if you're going for the water, water is not the goal. The goal is to go. Go ahead.
The goal of the whole thing is to finish and be done with it.
Got it. So here are your homework questions. You don't have to write these down. Do you look at the videos when I put them out on YouTube?
Sometimes if I need to write something down, I forget.
Yeah, so because this is a lot, I don't want to have you spend that much time writing. I'm just going to tell you to go to the YouTube video. It'll be out tonight, actually, if not tonight, early in the morning. And then just fast forward it to the homework questions and then write them down. And you can take your time then, okay? But read them for now. What are they?
What does the word goal mean?
Okay, so you look at it. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
What are the goals of the J sounding word? What are the goals of the J sounding words mentioned above?
Okay, stop there for a minute. Stop there for a minute. These are the words I'm talking about.
So I have to search up every single one?
Well, you just want to tell me what the goal is. Like, what's the goal when you play jacks? What's the end goal you're looking for? What's the end goal of going to Juma? Is it just to sit there and listen and fall asleep and all of that and chant, and or is there something you're supposed to be doing when you leave the Juma to go back to where you came from?
Do I just write one of them or all of them?
Yeah, just one or two, one or two goals. That's enough, right? What's the goal in joining someone to do something? What's the goal of your joints working together? You see what I'm saying?
Move.
All right, you got it. That's all I want. Just one or two words. What's the goal of your genes? What's the goal of the germs? What are the germs doing? So you have to look that up and give me 1 or 2, 3 words for each. Keep going. Number 3.
3. Name 4 or more English words that begin with J sound that have to do with groups.
Okay, now you did that at the beginning of the class, but I don't want you to use any of those words. Use new words, okay? 4 more English words that begin with that J sound that have to do with groups. You clear? All right, number 4. Read it.
Write down 3 English words that begin with G that is pronounced as J. Example, general. But you can't use that one. Haha.
That's right. Who's this?
You.
That's me. That's right. I'm laughing at you because you can't use the word I gave you. All right. Now, you want to see you?
Generalist.
Yeah. But you'll find them. Just go in the dictionary, look under G, you'll find them. That's me, right? Laughing at you because I don't know if you're going to be able to do that. Now, you want to see you?
What?
You ready? Now, by the time you give me your homework, Mahdi, I want these 2 pictures to exchange, and I want to be the sad one because I didn't believe you could do it, and I want you to be the happy ha 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 instructor. I got you. I got my homework. All right. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. And this is for our listeners. To join our university online learning course or get a similar private lesson for yourself or for your children or for your students, I want you to email me, Instructor Benjamin Bilal, at nunetics.institute at gmail.com. And the people who are watching this can stop their replay and write this down. Or you can call us at 516-300-2257. Give us that number again, Mahdi.
516-300-2257.
All right. As we conclude, you got any closing words you want to say?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Or what would be the correct Muslim Arabic words to say?
Salaam Alaykum.
Very good. Alaykum salam. Thank you. All right.